Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Fanatics. Or if you happen to be new here, please don't forget to click that big old subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. So today I'm talking about a little bit of new information about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Recently, Akiva Goldsman, who's one of the executive producers or showrunners on the various different Star Trek series through Star Trek Picard, Discovery, and obviously now Strange New Worlds, spoke to The Hollywood Reporter recently and gave us a little bit more information about things we might expect to see in Strange New Worlds. So I'm going to go through a bit of that news today. Before we get thrown into the Strange New Worlds gossip and news, I'm having a 15% off everything in my merch store from the 14th to the 18th of April, where you can pick yourself up a hoodie, mug, cap, lots of great stuff in there. So please be sure to check that out. So for starters, we already know certain things about Strange New Worlds, like we know it's going to be episodic and not serialized. Well, it's not serialized in a plot sense. It is going to be obviously serialized in a character sense. So it'll be, as we know, more of an adventure of the week style show with serialized character arcs, so that things that happen to characters will carry on into future episodes, but the stories themselves will be self-contained. Now, when Akiva spoke about Strange New Worlds in a bit more detail, he said that they are doing a lot of work to try to make Strange New Worlds seem a lot closer to original series. Now, this is an interesting piece of news to me because obviously there's a lot of criticism with Star Trek Discovery when it first came out, how radically different it looked to any other Star Trek show that had previously been on, and it was sort of almost felt like it was more in the sense of the Kelvin universe than the Prime universe, because it was just obviously very different than other Star Trek series. But it sounds like from what he's been saying is they've almost been making more of an effort with Strange New Worlds, because we haven't seen any photos yet. There have been no photos from the set, no photos of anything like that yet, but we've got these few comments to go upon, is that they're trying to make the sets look a lot more like original series. Now, I don't think that obviously means they're going to make them look like really crappy 1960s set design and so forth, and they're going to look flimsy bits of cardboard and whatnot, and obvious sets like what we saw in the 60s series. But I think they're going to make some tweaks to maybe the production design a little bit more than what we saw at the second season of Discovery, where we saw the Enterprise and so forth on that, to kind of make it a little bit more in line with original series. Now, this is exciting news, I think. I think there's probably been a little bit of criticism over the last few years in terms of Discovery, maybe pushing things a little bit too far left of field, when it comes to things like Klingon makeup and whatnot, and where fans have kind of just basically rebelled and said, like, this is not on, this isn't, this is not what it's meant to be like. You guys need to bring it more back into line. And it seems like they might have listened a little bit in this sense. It also seems like with the episodic nature of Strange New Worlds, there's going to be that more adventure of the week style storytelling. So in both original series, Next Generation, Voyager and so forth, you tended to get a big variety of episode styles. So one week you might get like a horror episode, one week you might get more of a sci-fi style storytelling structure, and in other weeks you might get something that's plays completely for comedy. And it sounds like that those varying different styles of episodes is what they're going for in Strange New Worlds. I mean, that was kind of the beauty of, I love those episodes in Next Generation where you had, one week you'd have a Night Terrors episode where, it was very much like a horror movie. Next week you'd have a Q would be visiting and there'd be the episode would completely play out for comedy. And I think that variety in storytelling and that variety in narrative will be a nice breath of fresh air to the Star Trek franchise, I think. It's been a while since we've had storytelling like this, and I think even though serialized storytelling is good, I think this will certainly breathe a bit of not only new life into the Star Trek franchise, but also maybe link us in a more solid way back to that original Star Trek storytelling style of original series Next Generation and so forth, which was non-serialized storytelling. Now, the other piece of information that has come out recently through this interview with Akiva Goldsman is that they're going to adjust the uniforms slightly, which is kind of exciting to me. I love the Star Trek uniforms in the season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. I think they look great. I think they were close enough to the Kirk era uniforms as seen in the original series, but they also had kind of elements of the Discovery uniforms as well, so they weren't completely thrown out and redesigned. So I'd be very interested to see what aspects of the uniforms have been redesigned. Now, if I had to put a guess on this, I think the uniforms look great in terms of the jackets, the pants, the boots, the sleeves, the look of them looks great. The only thing about the Season 2 Discovery Enterprise uniforms was that collar. I think the way they took that big black collar off the Discovery uniforms and put it on the new, more colourful Enterprise uniforms, it didn't really feel right to me. It looked like they were being choked by these massive, big black collars. I would like to think, in terms of the uniform adjustments, maybe those collars will be refined a little bit to something perhaps a little bit more like the simple black banding that we saw on the original series uniforms, or maybe something in between the two. I think that would be a good middle ground, I think, to see from these uniforms, is that I don't think we want to have them look completely like t-shirts, which is sort of a little bit what they were like in the 60s, just colourful t-shirts. They definitely look more, a bit more regal, a bit more grand in the second season of Discovery, except those bloody great black collars. I think if they refine them to a more simple collar, a simple black collar, maybe along the lines of how the Next Generation uniforms had the black collar there as part of the uniforms when they transitioned from the second season to the third season, where they had a very open collarless uniform, to the third season of Next Generation where they suddenly added the collar, and suddenly the uniforms just took on a new life and looked a lot more impressive, I thought, in that third season of Next Generation. So hopefully, I think a similar change to the Enterprise uniforms as we saw in Season 2 of Discovery and also the various short treks, to refine that collar into a little bit less gigantic black neck brace, I think, would be a good thing. So it sounds like, from what Akiva Goldsman has been talking about, in terms of this slight uniform adjustment, hopefully that will be part of it. I think if they can probably leave everything else alone, and if they just tweak that, they would be perfect. They would be great uniforms. And after all, Akiva Goldsman did say that the alterations they are making to the uniforms for Strange New Worlds is to reflect a closer alignment to the original series uniforms. So this definitely sounds like that collar is going to be the thing that's adjusted most, which is great news. Hopefully we should get a trailer for Strange New Worlds coming up sometime in the near future. Obviously, we've recently seen new trailers for Star Trek Picard Season 2. We've seen trailers for Star Trek Discovery Season 4 and Lower Deck Season 2, all as part of the more recent First Contact Day events and so forth. But we didn't get any visual material from Strange New Worlds. I think it would have been great, because obviously we know they're in production, to see maybe even if it's just a couple of stills. Much like they released the still of the Janeway CG model for Star Trek Prodigy. Show us a couple of production stills, maybe, from Strange New Worlds, just so we can get a kind of a glimpse at the bridge and the new uniforms and also the new cast. Are you guys excited for Strange New Worlds? I've got a lot of feedback in my channel recently with people saying they're, in fact, more interested or more excited about Strange New Worlds Season 1 than they are about Discovery Season 4 or even Picard Season 2. So that's really interesting feedback. Yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments section and what you think about these elements of refining the sets and costuming in Strange New Worlds to more closely align with what we saw in original series. If they can do that in a way that isn't going to look cheap and cheesy and 1960s, low budget kind of thing, I think great. Yeah, we will soon see. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Check out my merchandise. At the moment, there's a 15% off sale in the merch store, so check out that to get a great t-shirt or a hoodie or something at 15% off, and also check out the memberships page by clicking that join button and how you can learn to be a Sci Fanatics member and help support the channel even more. Everything helps keep the channel going. So I really appreciate all your support, guys, and I'll catch you guys next time for my next review.